Shalom to my brothers and sisters in the body of Yahushua HaMashiach, and to the children of Israel who are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Today I bring you a very important word, a very important message. For we know that we are expecting the new moon for the 9th month of 2016. And in the 9th month of YAHUWAH's calendar, we have Hanukkah coming up. And this is why you see a picture here of the Menorah. And I know many of us thought Hanukkah was centered around the Menorah. But from studying Yahuwah's word and from reading other sources such as the works of Josephus, I have come to find out that Hanukkah, which is known as the Feast of Dedication, also as the Festival of Lights, has nothing to do with the lighting of the menorah. Yes, my people, they have done it again. And this is why the title of this message is The Lighting of the Menorah Once a Year is a Judaic Custom by the Synagogue of Satan. And I know that you're probably thinking, my brothers and sisters, you're probably thinking that I thought Judaism was of Yahuwah. It is not. Judaism was created by Satan himself. And I'm going to take you to the direct source, which is their source, that would tell you how they establish their own custom and how it go against the Torah itself. So let's go there now. We're going to the botanica.com and we're going to read about Hanukkah, okay? And I'm going to read to you 2 paragraphs. One will pertain to history of why we celebrate Hanukkah, which is known as the Feast of Dedication / Festivals of Lights. And then the second paragraph is going to give you more insight of what the Synagogue of Satan do. Let's begin. According to First Maccabees, the celebration of Hanukkah was instituted by Judas Maccabees in 165 BC to celebrate his victory over Antiochus IV Epiphanes, the Seleucid king who had invaded Judea, tried to Hellenize the Jews and desecrate the Second Temple in Jerusalem. Following his victory in a 3-year struggle against Antiochus, Judas ordered the cleansing and restoration of the temple. After it was purified, a new altar was installed and dedicated on Kislev 25th. Another way to pronounce it is Kislev 25th, Casleu. Judas then proclaimed that the dedication of the restored temple should be celebrated every year for 8 days, beginning on that date. In 2nd Maccabees, the celebration is compared to the Feast of Succoth, the Feast of Tabernacles, or Feast of Booths, which the Jews were unable to celebrate because of the invasion of Antiochus. Hanukkah therefore emerged as a celebration of the dedication, as the word itself suggests. Now for the second paragraph, my brothers and sisters. Here's the twist, or here's the catch, dealing with the Synagogue of Satan. Although the traditional practice of lighting candles at Hanukkah was not established in the books of the Maccabees, the custom most likely started relatively early. The practice is enshrined in the Talmud, which describes the miracle of the oil in the temple. Now, my people, if you're not familiar with the Talmud, I highly suggest that you do get familiar with it. Because the Talmud did not come from Yahuwah, my people. The Talmud came from Satan and his children. See, the Talmud is the opposite of Torah. If you go to sacredtext.com, you can find a copy of the Talmud. And when you read it, your mouth gonna drop. And you will see why Revelation 2:9 and Revelation 3:9 called them the synagogue of Satan. Again, my people, they are not Israelites. They are Gentiles. The Ashkenazi Jews are the sons of Japheth. And some of the supported Jews are the sons of Esau, who is the father of the Edomites. Look it up. If you do not understand the Old Testament, which has prophecies that are still going on, that are still being fulfilled, then you're not going to understand why the things are happening in the land of Israel. You're not going to understand why there are burnings in the land of Israel, for they are Gentiles. And the Most High is very angry with them for what they have done to his holy land and for what they have done to his holy people. For they have afflicted and oppressed the true Israelites who are Negroes. Let's keep reading. According to the Talmud, when Judas Maccabees entered the temple, he found only a small jar of oil that had not been defiled by Antiochus. The jar contained only enough oil to burn for 1 day, but miraculously the oil burned for 8 days until new consecrated oil could be found, establishing the precedent that the festival should last 8 days. The early date for this story, or at least the practice of lighting 8 candles, is confirmed by the debate of the first century CE scholars Hillel and Shammai. Hillel and his school taught that 1 candle should be lit on the first night of Hanukkah and 1 more each night of the festival. Shammai held that all 8 candles should be lit the first night, with the number decreasing by 1 each night thereafter. Now, all of this came from the Talmud. It has nothing to do with the Torah. And as we go further in this video, you'll see why. Because there are a different set of instructions how the menorah should be lit and how often. This is why you need to make sure that you study to show yourself approved. Because these people who are not Israelite has deceived the whole world, has given lies, and they are having you follow the ways of Satan. Yes, they are having you to follow the ways of Satan. Now, before we get to the juicy part about Hanukkah, I'm going to show you the proof about these people. And check the video description box, because there's another gentleman who brought this to our attention. And he go by the title of RFB. And he released this information when he too was discussing the reason why there was burnings in the land of Israel. For he too know that they are not Israelites. And this is evidence. These people who call themselves the children of Israel, look what they have built in the Holy Land. Now, this is the Israeli Supreme Court. Okay? In the Supreme Court, they had built a pyramid, also, and the eye of, I believe is Horus, the eye of Horus. We're going to look at some of these pictures because you really need to know who you're truly dealing with. And you really need to understand why Judaism is a false religion. In other words, when you serve Yahuwah, there is no religion. It's only a covenant. And the covenant that we're in now is the covenant that Yahushua made for us. He made us the new covenant. See, you have to read the whole volume of the King James 1611 Bible to understand the new covenant. Yes, my people, you cannot put away the old covenant. Because if you put away the old covenant, you're not going to understand the new covenant, and you're going to be only keeping part of Yahushua commandments. See, Yahushua came in the whole volume of the book. Now let's get back to these pictures here. Do you see what they had built in the Holy Land? These are abominable to the Most High. He detests idols. See, these things are dedicated to Satan. For they are truly the children of Satan. Look what they built. I forgot the name of this building, but this is the same thing that was built in Egypt. I think it's called a obelisk. So why would they build an obelisk in the Holy Land? My people, you got to wake up. And we know the history about the Rothschilds, and and all this is tied in together with the Illuminati. These Jewish people are the same people who are fitted with the Illuminati. They're all working on the same team, my people. For they are the children of Satan. That's who they worship, my people. Wake up. Also, they built this in the Holy Land. This Masonic symbols and images and idols. Do you see why my Holy Father, Yahuwah in heaven, is very upset with them? Very. And I see why. Because I'm upset. I don't even like this. This is abominable. This is an abomination to him. See, look what they built here. To tell you, they disgust me. These are not his people. And it's time for us to wake up. It's time for us to know who are the Israelites. And if you study the history of the Negroes in Deuteronomy chapter 28 and 2nd Ezra chapter 13, you will know how to find the children of Israel. For they are the true Israelites. And Yahuwah said himself, he will bring them back to the Holy Land. Not by man's hand. He shall do it. He shall cause great miracles. He shall send his son as an ensign upon the mountain, as written in Isaiah chapter 11. And he shall open up the waters again like he did with the Red Sea. And that's written in Isaiah chapter 11 and also 2nd Ezra chapter 13 of the Apocrypha. I highly recommend that you get yourself a copy of the King James 1611 Bible, and I will put the link of the King James 1611 Bible where you can read it yourself. Now that Bible has the summaries and precepts. So I'm just going to put like Genesis chapter 1 of that 1611 where you can actually see what I'm talking about. Because it's time for you to get understanding, and it's time for you to get the whole truth. If you are a child of Yahuwah, if you are the child of the Most High, we are about telling the whole truth and nothing but the truth, as written in John chapter 8, verse 32. For Yahushua HaMashiach, who is the Christ, told us we are to what? Seek truth. And the truth shall make you free. So you need to know who you're dealing with. Because these people here, they are not the Israelites. That's why they call themselves Jews. That's why they call themselves Israelites. Israelites. That's why they call themselves that, because they know they're not the people. When you do the history word search on Jew, it was created in the 18th century. Originally, my people was called Judeans. And in the Greek and Roman word for that, it was an I. It start with an I. And check for the bubble box in this video, or the description box, for the two words that the Greeks and Romans used to call us. Even when they killed Christ, they didn't say King of the Jews. They said King of the Judeans. And I also will put that information in the description box or the bubble box of this video. Please check for that, because it's time for you to understand who are the Israelites. So we were actually, in the English tongue, was called Judeans, and that word would translate back to Yahudim, and Yahudim means worshiper of Yahuwah. Again, my people, you're going to have to seek out Yahuwah's truth. Stop following man and start listening to Yahuwah. Now, let's get to the nitty-gritty. I'm not going to read all of this word for word because I want to make sure you have the scripture so you can read and study for yourself about Hanukkah. Okay? And I know a lot of people do not have Facebook, so this is why I'm doing this. And the title of my note on Facebook is Hanukkah is not lighting the menorah once a year, a Judaism custom of the Synagogue of Satan. All right. So in this note, I give a lot of details so you can have understanding about Hanukkah. So to get the true understanding of what Hanukkah is, you would need to read the work of Josephus and the first and second book of Maccabees, because great miracles happened in the days of the Maccabees. And I highly recommend that you read 2 Maccabees chapter 15 to understand what miracle took place and to understand why we have the Feast of Dedication. For those who want to do more study with the Strong Concordance, that number is H2598. Because as you can see here, Hanukkah is spelled in different ways. Now, when it says festivals of lights, it's talking about something deeper, my people. It's not dealing with what you're thinking. So I highly recommend that you look at all the definition of lights and see what that means and how it ties in to what Josephus was telling us. For remember now, the translator, when he translated Josephus' word, it's translated to English. And unfortunately, at this time, we don't have his original copy. In other words, we don't have the original language that Josephus wrote those works in to compare and to get the true definition of those words. So this is why I'm telling you to refer to the English definition of light and to look at all of its meaning, because the festival of lights is dealing with freedom from our burdens, liberty from our oppressors who wants to stop us from worshiping the true Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That is the mystery that many do not understand. Now, I definitely want you to take a look at John chapter 10, verse 22, because Christ gave us another important information about the Feast of Dedication. I'm going to read this verse to you. And it's written in the gospel, and it states this: and it was at Jerusalem, the Feast of Dedication, and it was winter. And the precept for that verse is in First Maccabees chapter 4, verse 59. Now, the key word here, it said it was winter. And I had a copy of my calendar from last year, and I have this year calendar. Now, those who understand Nazareth, which can be found in Job chapter 38, verse 20, Job chapter 38, verse 31, you will come to learn that it's dealing with the 12 signs. And these 12 signs today are called the zodiac. All right. So this is dealing with the sun year, dealing with the sun circuit. When the sun enters each of these constellations, it lets us know when the seasons begin and end. This is how we know when spring, summer, fall, and winter begins and end. So with this feast, during the time of Christ, during that particular period, Hanukkah fell in wintertime. So I looked at 2015 to 2016 calendar year. And that's looking at from Abib to Adar. And during that time, I noticed that Hanukkah is in the 9th month. But during that year, the winter solstice fell in the 10th month on the 11th day of the 10th month. And the sun entered the 10th constellation known as Capricorn on December the 22nd, 2015 at 6:48 a.m. in Israel Standard Time. And that's very important to know that, because we know that the day falling after that is the first day of winter. So the sun entered Capricorn in the year of 2015 on December the 22nd, which fell on the 10th month and the 11th day of the Hebrew calendar. So winter began on the 10th month and 12th day of the Hebrew calendar. And the reason why is that because we can't split the day. We can't say part of it was fall and part winter. We have to go up to the next day. So that's why the first day of winter fell on the 12th day. Okay? So in the year of 2015, Abib, to 2016, Adar, Hanukkah fell in the fall season. So I know what you're probably thinking now, but the scripture said that the Feast of Dedication fell during the winter time when Christ, went to the temple during that time. So here's the mystery behind this. Hanukkah can fall in winter. It is possible. And the only way it can fall in the winter season if you have a 13th month. So this year, we noticed that last year of the Hebrew calendar, from Abib 2015 to Adar 2nd of 2016, we had 13 months. Okay? And I'm not going to go in specific details because I want to keep this video short, but I will put links in the description box where you can do a further study on YAHUWAH's calendar and about the 13th month and about Nazareth, which is the 12 signs. So this year we will have Hanukkah to fall in winter season in the 9th month. And you probably say, whoa, how that's possible? This is how. I want you to listen very closely and I want you to take notes. This is very important. The sun shall enter into the 10th constellation, which is called Capricorn. Capricorn is the 10th sign of Nazareth, okay? And the sun shall enter that constellation on December the 21st, 2016 at 12:44 p.m. in Israel time, okay? Now we know we cannot separate the day. We can't say that day is partly fall and partly winter. We have to go to the next day. So that first day of winter will fall on December the 21st at sundown to December the 22nd and sundown and continue thereon from that point. And I'm going to repeat it again. The first day of winter will begin on December the 21st at sundown to December the 22nd, because the last day of the sun, 9th month, and this is the sun now, 9th month, will fall on the last day of that is December the 20th to December the 21st, because the sun entered the 10th sign of Nazareth, which is called Capricorn today. Now, those who read 1st and 2nd Enoch will understand this. Remember, the sun and the moon is on two separate circuits, and this is why the sun months are not in line with the moon months. The sun will always be ahead of the moon. You will have to study those hidden books, 1st and 2nd Enoch, the work of Josephus, Philo, and many other sources and the Bible to understand how the sun and moon works. And it's very important that you read Genesis chapter 1, verse 14, and Ben Sirah, which is known as ecclesiastical in the Apocrypha, read chapter 43, verse 6 through 10. Okay? So this year, we will have Hanukkah to fall in the winter season because of the winter solstice. That's what I'm talking about. Again, Hanukkah this year will fall in the winter season because it comes after the winter solstice. And this is why it fell in the winter season. So the Bible here, when we read John chapter 10, verse 22, is giving us a big hint. And it also gives us confirmation that is a 13th month. That this is the only way Hanukkah can fall in the winter season. And that's the proof. But let us keep going forth with this lesson about Hanukkah, because I want you to have all the scriptures. So we already read the Botanica. Okay, so that was this part is dealing with here. So we already read that. The scriptures you want to read about when the menorah is lit and where is Exodus chapter 27, verse 20 through 21. Also read Exodus chapter 30, verse 8, Exodus chapter 40, and Numbers chapter 8, verse 1 through 4. See, the menorah was lit every day, my people, from evening to morning. And it can only be lit in the tabernacle / temple of Yahuwah. And it's located in the holy sanctuary, which is called the tabernacle of the congregation without the veil. And that holy sanctuary is before the Holy of Holies. I highly recommend that you do a study about that, because we cannot follow behind these Jewish people. They are the synagogue of Satan. They worship Satan. And that is why they only light the menorah once a year. Okay. And in this video, I will talk about the mystery of how we can fulfill the Feast of Dedication, because I am aware we are in the land of our captivities. We're not in the Holy Land, and we do not have a temple. So I'm giving you the mystery behind that. Now, the Feast of Dedication is kept for a total of 8 days. Okay. Again, there's a deeper spiritual meaning about this. If you understand the mystery of being born again, being rejuvenated, and being the first fruits, and the understanding about how the tabernacle, the altar, the priest, and the high priest was anointed and sanctified, then you would definitely understand these things. I will put these 3 videos in the description box so you can get more understanding about how Yahuwah anointed and sanctified things, okay? Dealing with being born again, being rejuvenated, and being the first fruits. Okay? So there's a total day. So we have 8 days total for this holy festival. Okay? It starts on the 25th day of the 9th month. Now, depending on how many days is in the 9th month, will determine where that 8th day will fall on. So it can fall on the 2nd or the 3rd day of the 10th month. All right? We already talked about how Hanukkah can fall in the winter season. And from comparing this year calendar to last year calendar, we see that when you have a 13th month, this is how Hanukkah can fall in the winter time. So we see evidence of that. All right. These are scriptures. These here are the scriptures to give you to understand what was done and what was offered during these holy feast day of the dedication. Believe it or not, it goes back to the Torah. That's why you need to read Numbers chapter 7. And that's why you need to go to the King James 1611 website to read the chapter summary, because it tells you here, I am going to read this part word for word. It said, Numbers chapter 7 summary, the offering of the princes at the dedication of the tabernacle. There are several offerings at the dedication of the altar. Yahuwah speaketh to Moses from the mercy seat. So definitely you want to read Numbers chapter 7, chapter 8, Exodus chapter 25, verse 18, verse 31, verse 37, Exodus chapter 40, verse 25 for more details. Okay. Now I will also read Exodus chapter 40 summary, and it says, the tabernacle is commanded to be reared and anointed, Aaron and his sons to be sanctified. Moses performed all things accordingly. A cloud covered the tabernacle. So those who have more understanding about the cloud and who already understand the spiritual connection, I highly recommend that you read Ben Sirach chapter 24. All right. These following verses below are just giving examples of what they did during the feast of dedication of the altar, after the original tabernacle / temple was built, and after the desolation. And desolation does pertain to the destruction of Jerusalem and the temple, the destruction of Jerusalem and the temple. Now we deal with the abomination of desolation. That's dealing with them bringing abominable things and things that will desecrate the temple. Okay. Again, you have to read 2 Chronicles chapter 7, because Solomon gave a great example of that. I will read this chapter summary so you can have it. It said in 2 Chronicles chapter 7 summary, Yahuwah having given testimony to Solomon prayer by fire from heaven and glory in the temple, the people worship him. Solomon sacrifice. Solomon having kept the feast of tabernacle and the feast of the dedication of the altar, dismisseth the people. Yahuwah appearing to Solomon, giving him promises upon condition. Okay. So definitely read that chapter, because here we have now a more permanent building of the temple / Yahuwah, because the first one was made of tents and was more mobile. So now we have a more permanent building in a fixed location that was built upon Mount Moriah. All right. Now I'm going to give you the rest of the scripture so you may want to take this time now to pause your screen. You want to read Numbers chapter 7, Exodus chapter 40, Leviticus chapter 23, and Numbers chapter 29 to compare with the Feast of Tabernacles. 1 Kings chapter 8, verse 1 through 66. 2 Chronicles chapter 6, verse 1 through 42, and chapter 7, verse 1 through 22. First Maccabees chapter 4, and definitely look at verse 52 through 53. Second Maccabees chapter 1, verse 8, and the precept for that verse is Leviticus chapter 23 and Numbers chapter 29 that pertain to the Feast of Tabernacles. Second Maccabees chapter 6, you want to read that because you can see how they defiled the temple. Second Maccabees chapter 10, verse 1 through 9. Also, in the book of Ezra, and I think either Ezra comes either before or after Nehemiah, they had to also do a feast of dedication for the altar too as well. This pertains to the Babylonian captivity. All right. So you want to read, this pertains to them coming out of the Babylonian captivity when Darius, the Persian, was king. Okay. So you want to read Ezra chapter 6, verse 16. And First Ezra chapter 7, verse 5. That's the precept for those two verses. In addition, read Ezra chapter 6, verse 15 through 18. And you have the 1611 Bible. It says the third day. So if you see 23rd, look in your side note. My side note still says the third day. So that's why I have a dark third as being the feast of dedication that was held during so it's Zerubbabel and Joshua the high priest time, during when they was rebuilding the temple after the Babylonian captivity, which this is the first time that the temple was destroyed. So that's why you see me wrote here after the first desolation. Okay. So the first desolation of Jerusalem and the temple was when the Babylonians came. And then read the works of Josephus, the book of Antiquities, 12.7.6, number 316, all the way to 12.7.7, number 323 to 326 for that history. So you can understand that the Feast of Dedication is not dealing with the lighting of the menorah. Okay. Now, the last thing I do want to close out with, and I'm going to put these links in the description box so you can read and do a more study on about Judaism. So you can see that Judaism is not of the Most High. And this is why they have this so-called Star of David. So when you do a study on that, even with the Bible, that is not our symbol. That is not something that we follow, my people. The Israelites, the only thing that the Most High gave to the Israelites as a symbol was the menorah. And when you read the book of Zechariah, it goes in more details to give you understanding about what the menorah represents. The menorah represent the nation of Israel. And to understand the mystery of that, I want you to read Deuteronomy chapter 29, verse 10 through 15, and Revelations chapter 11. Because when it talks about the candlesticks, it's talking about the menorah. And it's giving, and those mysteries that I'm giving you to read will give you an understanding whom made up the kingdom of Israel when it was one, when they were not two separate kingdoms, okay? And it also gives you the mystery who entered the covenant with the Israelites. So also read Exodus chapter 12 as well. So let me give you those verses again. Read Deuteronomy chapter 29, verse 10 through 15. Read Exodus chapter 12. Read Revelations chapter 11. Okay? This is why in the Old Testament, if you see the word church, it actually is pertaining to temple/tabernacle. It's actually pertaining to the congregation of Israel, to give you more understanding of that. Okay? So here's the thing about Judaism. In my sister message, my sister Jackie was given a message from the Most High about him coming for us. And in his message, he said, Satan copies everything that he do. And you'll definitely see this. When you start reading the Talmud and you start studying on the conversion to the conversion to Judaism, you will come to find out that it's very similar to salvation, on how we receive salvation. But the main difference, I want you to really understand this. They reject Christ. They don't believe that Yahushua HaMashiach is the son of Yahuwah. They say horrible things about Christ. So I'm going to put the link of this in the description box so you can read and study yourself about how a person, it's about what a person has to do to convert to Judaism. And this is why you have them being converts, because that's what they are. They are converts, and they're not really following Torah nor the King James 1611 Bible. They're following the Talmud, and that's dealing with the synagogue of Satan. So when you read about this, I definitely want you to pay attention to this word. And I'm going to read this paragraph word for word. It said, although an infant conversion might be accepted in some circumstances, such as in the case of adopted children or children whose parents convert, children who convert would be typically be asked if they want to remain Jewish after reaching religious adulthood. which is 12 years of age for a girl and 13 for a boy. This standard is applied by Orthodox and conservative Judaism, which accept Hanukkah as, not Hanukkah, it's Halecha as binding. You definitely want to look up that word. I'm going to put that in the description box so you can read and study this for yourself, because according to the Bible, Israelites are the children and the descendants of Jacob. This is dealing with blood. These Jewish people are saying that anyone can become a Jew. Again, they are leading you to a false religion. And like I said in the beginning of this video, we don't deal with religion. We deal with covenant, an agreement we made with Yahuwah. And the new covenant that we have now to carry us over to the new kingdom is Yahushua HaMashiach, the covenant that he made for us. Okay? So with these people here, they came up with their own way. And you're thinking that you are following and serving the Most High, but you're not. You are rejecting him. So I'm going to put this link in the description box, Conversion to Judaism. I'm also going to put this link in the description box, Halakha. And this is what they make the nation of Dan do. Now, Dan today is also called Beta Israel. Most of them can be found in Ethiopia and Sudan. And this is why the Jewish people go and get them, because they are willing to take the conversion. Now, keep in mind, when they do this, they are rejecting Yahushua HaMashiach as being the Christ and as being the son of Yahuwah. Okay? This is why the nation of Dan is not included in the 144,000 that is written in Revelation chapter 7. And I will put the link of the book of Dan. Their forefather wrote them a book and warned them about this. And this is a prophecy that is coming to pass. Now we're seeing that. So the nation of Dan will receive salvation. In other words, there'll be, what's the best way I can put this? When Christ comes to defeat the beast, when Christ comes with that 144,000, as written in Revelation chapter 15, to defeat the beast, that's when Dan shall be saved, in other words. Okay? They're going to recognize he is the Christ. They're going to accept him and follow him then, after he defeats the beast. This is why when you read Ezekiel chapter 47 to 48, in the earthly realm, they will get their land back. But in the heavenly realm, they will not have no partake with those heavenly things of the 144,000. Remember, the 144,000 is redeemed from the earth. And this is why Dan is cut off from that part of the inheritance. But in the earthly realm, they will return and they will get their land back. Okay? So I'm going to put this link in the description about that part, because that's really a part of the conversion process. And remember, a lot of the stuff is coming from the Talmud. And when y'all read that, your mouth going to drop. Another thing I'm going to put in the description box so you can do a study on. Remember, I told you they copy what Christ has set up. Because when we come into the new covenant, we receive salvation as written in Romans chapter 10, verse 8 through 13. And then we receive baptism in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Well, guess what? They got something like that. But again, it's not including Yahushua. Okay? Mikvah or mikvah, okay? And that's nothing but, they say Hebrew, but it's used Yiddish from right here. Here's the Yiddish word, which is Mikves, okay? And it means a collection. Now, mikvah is a bath used for the purpose of ritual immersion in Judaism. And here's an example of one that they have. Okay. I also too would put this in the description box. So I hope you now understand about who are truly the Israelites. I really do. I hope you understand this, because you need to make a decision. Either you're going to follow Yahuwah and Yahushua, or you're going to follow man. And we are in Esau's kingdom, and his kingdom is coming to an end, as written in 2nd Ezra chapter 6, verse 7 through 9. And Jacob's kingdom is beginning. And in the kingdom of Jacob, Yahuwah and Yahushua is over that kingdom. So I don't know about you, but I'd rather be on a righteous side and to receive eternal life and not eternal death. So I'm going to close this part out by reading this thing here to really make you think. Because whatever you follow, my people, you need to go behind them. You need to read all the resources. And that King James 1611 Bible is your foundation. You need to know that word inside out, because I'm telling you, they're very clever. So I'm going to close this out with this word. In the body of Yahushua HaMashiach, we are covered for Christ. In the body of Yahushua HaMashiach, we are covered, for Christ provides what we cannot do because of our captivities. Therefore, we keep a memorial by reading and studying about the feast of dedication / festival of lights with our family, friends, children, and strangers. Yahushua is the high priest in heaven that intercedes for us, and he is our mediator. Yahushua is the only one that can go before the Holy of Holies, Yahuwah throne room, for a man on earth cannot do this. Reread the book of Hebrews. In other words, my people, no man on earth at this time can enter the throne room of Yahuwah in heaven. They can't go there. They are flesh. Only Yahushua can go before his Father in the heavenly realm. However, those who do not receive salvation, the new covenant, Romans 10, 8 through 13, and the baptism in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach is damned by the law in their earthly realm. For they have no temple / tabernacle. They have no original menorah. They have no high priests and priests. They have no holy oil. They have no offerings and sacrifices. They have no holy altar. And they have no other holy items of the temple / tabernacle of Yahuwah. The unsaved are not covered because they reject Yahushua, the Son of Yahuwah. Therefore, they are damned by the law. So you see, my people, if you don't accept Christ and what he established for you, you are taking a big risk with your soul. Choose today whom ye shall serve. Choose today between life or death. Choose between eternal life or eternal death. In Judaism is of Satan, for it rejects Yahushua, the Son of Yahuwah, and followed the Talmud. This is why they enforce conversion, the rejection of Yahushua, to be in Judaism. Do your research, my people. The children of Satan are very clever and deceitful. Shalom. So I end with these words, my family. Please share this video with others so they can know the truth about Hanukkah, And so they can know the truth about Judaism. And so they can know that those people over there, they are not Israelites. They are not the children of Jacob. They are not the children of Israel. The Negroes are the children of Israel. And it's time for the truth to come out. We can see evidence of this in the heaven and in the earth. For now the earth is no longer in line with the heaven. Do you hear me, my people? The earth is no longer in line with the heaven. And all of this is coming because the true Israelites are not in the land. I would put the 2 prophetic messages that Yahuwah has given to us. For he said this, the heavens and the earth, they long for the true Israelites to return back into the land. This is why the heathens get 13 constellation, because they looking at sidereal, which is they looking at the earth rotation. So they just basing it by looking from that point of view, they see 13 signs. But those who are true studier of the Most High Word know that it's incorrect. For if you study the sun circuit, there's only 12 signs, not 13. But this is why when you look in the heavens now, things don't look the same anymore. They're not in their places anymore because the earth has shifted. The earth poles have shifted, my people. I'm going to put a video link in the description box, and I highly recommend that you look at that. And all of this is coming because the true Israelites are not in the Holy Land. This is why all these things are out of alignment. So excuse my phone, but I really want you to seek Yahuwah now. Seek him. Seek his truth. Because he would give you the truth if you will just listen and be willing to receive it. Read Luke chapter 11, verse 9 to 13. So let me end here, my family. Please check the description box for some very important links to look and review. And please share this with others. And continue to preach the gospel that the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Make sure the people receive salvation as written in Romans chapter 10, verse 8 to 13. And baptize them in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Shalom.